All right, this is my first video in a long time. I decided to take a different approach on life. I hope you like my background. I'm just going to do a voiceover. I got a couple of guests with me, and our topic today is Uber drivers and Uber riders who get canceled. Whether you the driver and you canceling on somebody, or you the actual rider and you getting canceled on. I've been in situations where, as in, like, the customer will cancel on me or report me because they felt like I wasn't fair enough to go pick them up. Perfect example. I go pick this person up on street whatever. This particular street, I know this area, I know where I'm going, and I know I'm at the right address. I waited more than the acceded time, pick up the phone, and I call the customer. Customer's like, listen, it's for someone else. He say he at the casino. Now, mind you, ain't no casino in sight. None. So I tell her, ma'am, what casino is this? Because where I'm at is where the GPS told me to. She hangs up, calls me back, and says, listen, no, he at the casino. Can't you go and get him? No. What happened was the address the pickup address was reversed. She put the pickup address as the drop-off address, and the where I was, which was the house where he was supposed to be dropped off at, they messed up. I'm like, ma'am, it seems like he's way too far for me to pick him up. Well, I don't see why you can't just go and get him. You're going to have to cancel the ride. Why I got to cancel the ride? Because you're the one who called the ride. She told Uber that I didn't want to pick her up. Uber didn't want to pay me for the cancellation fee. Can you believe that? I noticed that like sometime last year that they started changing the rules and being strict on how they gonna give out the how they're gonna get some of their money back by not paying some of the drivers for cancellation fees. And to me, it's not fair because I was in the right, I was at the right location. She just didn't want me to, she just didn't want to pay for the cancellation fee, which that's not my problem. You have the money, you pay for the ride, right? It's stupid, dog. It's petty as hell. In some cases, some of these people can dispute their cancellation fees, and they're even charging the drivers. Meaning, they can charge you, the driver, for canceling and take your money and eat up your money. But I've also heard stories about, well, my Uber driver drove right past me, and just because I wasn't on the right side of the street, that bitch just kept going and just canceled the ride. And guess who got charged? The customer.
Yeah.
Is that fair to the customer? No. Why are you being nasty? You know you're a rideshare driver. At least have some patience. Yes, it is your car. Yes, you have that option. But in some cases, it just doesn't seem fair.
No.
No, it's just not fair. They've been changing the rules a lot lately, and I don't agree with some of their ideas, but some of these people are messing with the system. The rides are cheaper. As far as Lyft, it's always like some of these rides are like $1.99, $2.99. Cheap as hell if it's like a short distance. And then some of them, they'll know that, okay, look, if you drop me off here, it's only going to charge me for here. Some of them, they don't care. They don't. They want to be dropped off right then and there. I've never had somebody just abruptly want to leave my car. It's a consensus. Like, okay, look, I'd rather just get out here than you to just continue to sit in traffic to get me to my destination as opposed to someone else. But I've heard some pretty nasty things, and people have really bad misconception about what Uber really is. And to me, it's a business. They making money out of you, me. It don't matter. Everyone. They are only in it to benefit themselves. And if they had it their way, they would have self-driving cars, and they'd be charging us out the ass prices just to get into this self-driving car.
But they're working on that.
They are working on it, and that's why they lost so much money in the first place. That's why people are able to buy their shares now, because they put so much money in trying to be the first ones that they find. The new CEO was like, listen, let's take a step back. Let somebody else be the first one, and we'll just mimic that. But at the end of the day, they've already hurt what the public's eyes have seen, because there's been some accidents. A lady died from it, from a self-driving car. You know that, right? Clear as day. She was at the stop. The car was supposed to stop. She was walking at the cross stop. The car did not calculate that there's a random person walking in the middle of the street, and the car was supposed to stop, but the car didn't stop. She was just crossing the street, knocked the shit out of her and killed her.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear that.
Because in that area...
What area?
I don't remember. I could find out. But in that area, I guess the GPS didn't pick up that they added a stop sign on that side of the street. It didn't matter. She still got hit. She didn't deserve it. Helpless victim just got hit.
And took her life.
Exactly. But here in Miami, especially down like by where I live, I see a lot of the self-driving cars, but there's either one or two people in the car. They're just tests, but it's a self-driving car. It's called Argo.
They have the helicopter Uber too in New York.
Uber has a helicopter fleet, and then they have the truck driving one where they drive trucks. You know that, right?
No.
If you have your own truck, one with a whole, I'm talking about a big truck, you can do Uber fleet where you can just deliver cargo.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's something that they want to do everything, but in the mix of it, you got.
They have stuff to work.
They have other competition, so that's why they like to be the first one in everything. There's certain countries they're not the first one.
Wow, I didn't know.
There's a company in China called Gigi.
Mm-hmm.
Gigi is beating Uber's prices, and Uber's losing money in China and other prominent areas. Whereas they don't want Uber to be the only option. Yeah. They want Lyft, they want Gigi, and I've heard of what's that other company that we heard of the other month, a couple of months ago around Super Bowl time? Remember? Mm. What was the name? What was the name of that company?
What was the colors?
I can't remember. It's another rideshare company. But when I looked up, I can't remember. I'd have to come back to that one, but I can't remember.
But
who pays you more? Lyft?
Who pays me more? When I did my taxes this year, hands down, I made more money with Uber. Mm. But I don't take as many Lyft rides as I should. But then there's certain times of the day and night, there's no rides for Lyft. None. It's quiet. Certain areas, a lot of people take Lyft. And in my discretion, if I had to pay for a Lyft ride, I'd see how much a Lyft ride is first, and then check the Uber ride, and then compare. But I've noticed, like, if I say if I'm going to Angela's house, okay, I put in Angela's address, it'll tell me it's $5 and some change. I go to the Lyft app, it'll probably be $5. It may be cheaper, it might be higher, but then I go back to the Uber app, it's more money. Now you done messed up.
Yeah.
Which is really messed up. And I've heard people actually tell me, like, around events and stuff like that, the prices go up.
Okay, but how's the cancellation policy for Lyft?
It's the same. It's the same, but it's worse. If it is a ride where the driver is by themselves, the rider is by themselves, and they cancel, it doesn't matter if I just started driving, they're not going to charge them a cancellation fee. But in some cases they will. If I've made it to the destination and I waited for you and it was a decent amount of time that I waited, they're not going to give me no money. That's what they've been doing. Like lately, in some cases, last week I had a cancellation fee. I canceled on this person because I was at the destination and clear as day, they weren't there. So I canceled on them. Then another one, I went to their house. I went to the destination where the GPS is telling me, and sometimes the GPS is wrong, but he told me you need to put in this address and go to this address. I did it. I went to it, and you can see where then on the map, it looked like I'm driving away, but then I went back, and on the map, it looks like I'm closer to the person. Right. Guess what? Just because I ain't drive up to this $1 million mansion, Mind you, it's dark. I'm by myself. I'm at the end of it's like a hill to get up to the house. So I didn't drive up to the driveway. I just stayed down there. I called the person. They hung up on me. I canceled the ride. I didn't get paid for that. Because they told Uber that I didn't want to, because they put in a complaint saying that I didn't want to pick them up. That's a lie. But it's only $3 and some change. They tell you that it's a little bit more now for the customers, but they don't tell you that they still give us 3 something. In some cases, a little bit higher, but they do not care.
Well, as a customer for Lyft twice, I had to dispute charges, and they didn't want to dispute the charges.
They don't want to give the money, and that's what I'm noticing. From the beginning when it used to start, we used to get our money back. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't.
Even for the consumer, you can't get your
and
money.
I have a friend who does Uber Eats. If he cancels his rides, and he ends up, and he's en route and he cancels, or he gets there and the food is not ready, he canceled 4 or 5 in a row. Now that's excessive. Mm-hmm. They charged him almost $6 and some change for that night. And he saw that after the fact because he felt like he was supposed to make a certain amount, and he saw it on the thing when he was about to cash out that, hey, instead of him being refunded, getting the money, they charged him for canceling. And Lyft has this thing, if you can't, it's called an acceptance rate, meaning you can't request a ride, I'm going to accept it, right? Yeah. But if I don't accept it or I cancel it out, Lyft, there's this little screen that pops up. It says, hey, if you are going to continue to cancel rides, your acceptance rate is going to go down and you might as well go offline. That's what they tell you. Lyft is like that. Their screen to me is more lit up. Mm. Uber is more dark. They changed their theme now. They're trying to be a little bit more interactive. They have more safety features. So does Lyft. They're the same thing, but they're putting us through the same problems in different life. Every individual is different. Some people prefer Lyft and some people prefer Uber. I've had people get in my car and tell me, I'll never fuck with Uber again. And then I had people tell me they don't feel comfortable driving with Lyft drivers. Me, I'm going to pick Uber.
Yeah, I choose Uber.
I make more money with Uber some days, and their incentives are still never gonna beat Lyft. I think 1 week I drove the least, and I made a bare minimum of 10 rides. Guess who paid me more? Lyft. I started driving at 9 something, 6 something, and ended at 9 something. That's 3 hours. I made $44 in Lyft and $20 in cash tip.
Oh, that's good.
That's $64 in 3 hours. But sometimes I just get bored and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or I get irritated with the traffic, or the GPS starts acting up. It's not fun for me anymore. Why do I have to keep doing this? I don't. I have a full-time job. I don't have time for this. Yeah. So, the will to want to do something is not there. But then I realized lately, okay, why not tell the world? Because everybody else is doing it, but keep it clean. You know what I mean? So I'm like, there's nothing wrong with talking about Uber and Lyft and Rideshare itself. I can do Postmates. I am a Postmates driver. I've gone through the process. But I feel like back in the day, it used to be better because there was a time. Remember I told you, I think it was last year, when Uber lost a lot of money, they felt like they need to stop hiring a lot of people because they're down as far as costs. They let go of a lot of people in their marketing or advertising department.
That's when they launched that deal of having those people come through and rent cars. That's when they invested all of that money, and then they didn't have that money back. A lot of people didn't come through and get cars from them. They're using their own car. So then they switched it. They said, well, if you're going to do it, your car has to be this certain amount of mileage, and you have to have an up-to-date car. You can't be past a certain date.
Right. So in the beginning, when I first did Uber, they had the exchange. That's gone dead with. Some people still have cars from them, but that didn't go through. They lost money from that. And then they brought on Fare. Fare is the company that Uber is using, and you still can get cars through Hertz. Enterprise, my first car with Uber was through Enterprise. Their contract ended. It ended nasty with them. But Hertz, you can still get one from Hertz, and you can do it through Fair.
So
Fair is like a leasing program now, but you paying weekly for the car and insurance. But
sometimes you end up less because you got to pay for gas and you got to come to them with insurance. So like others who don't have a job, this is their only job.
Right.
Come into position
Right.
and speak on things.
But places like Arkansas, Virginia, certain other states, there is no program for you to start off and already rent an Uber vehicle. How do I know? I've gone there and I've asked the drivers, hey, if you don't have a car, your car is not working that week, you can go and get you a car. No, we don't have that here. But then again, I live in Miami. I started in Miami and then I'm like, damn, Miami is spoiled. Spoiled. Even Lyft has a program. They still have their program, and the program says if you do more than 500 rides a week, your car is free. That's how I remember it. But I'll look into it. I could tell you how it all started in another video. But the whole point is, like, as far as Uber, what it is now, Miami 2020, it's based on the events. What city, state has the highest amount of events? California, Colorado, New York, Chicago. There's certain states, they racking money. And that's why they still there.
On your time off, right? If you took a week off and you decided to drive for them, do you think you would have done 500?
You can. That's my answer.
Do you think that
you
would have?
No.
Have you come close to it?
Only because my circumstances was I took time off from work and I was still getting paid. What if I had no job? Yes, that's why I said if I could, I would. But I have successfully taken off a week, a month, a day. It don't matter. I took off time from work, and at the end of the day, I was still getting paid for the day, but I could still get on the road and make some money. And I told you there's been days that, hey, I brought home some money today.
But the fact of lying is, do you think it's possible to reach $500 in a given week?
Yes. I have a friend who works for Postmates, quote unquote, and he's told me he's brought home like $1,000 a week, $700 a week, $500 a week.
With working hours?
No, his working hours like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 7, get ready, start my day, eat some, shower, shave, whatever the fuck he does as a man. Get his ass up, get in the car, and drive till 3 or 4, sometimes 7, 10 in the morning just to make ends meet. Because, mind you, that insurance over there for that individual is high.
So what does that lie in the fact of people?
And then it lies in the fact of if there's other Uber drivers out here who are just doing it full time and your rent is higher than mine, because my rent is not that high. We'll just leave it at low. But if their rent is higher than or double, triple mine, damn, you got to work hard for your money. At the end of the day, I feel like you still need something steady coming in to rely and fall back on as an Uber driver, any state. Because there's cost, there's wage cuts and expenses that you as an individual are not able to calculate 1 year in advance. Because at the end of the day, you are running a business. So last year, my income tax lady, dude or whatever lady, told me, your business took a loss last year. You didn't drive as much, but you still made a decent amount for you to turn around and have a good year. But the numbers don't lie. You made less last year, and look at how much money you're getting in return. I can honestly say I got more money back this year than I did last year, but I drove a lot last year. But as far as doing your taxes, it gets nastier. Let me tell you something. When you file your taxes, it's different from you because you're a customer. You just take, that's for you. But me as a driver, it's not as easy to do my taxes. Not only do I have to have my ducks in a row information or some type of tracking system, control, telling me how many miles I put into the bitch. And it tells you, and mind you, because if you're renting the car, you can't claim that on your taxes. Trust me. Oh yeah, because it's not your vehicle. That's not property that you own or you're paying off. You're putting miles on it. There's depletion value that you have now. So this is the first year that I had to say, okay, look, I own a vehicle, and I may be making payments on it, but yeah. That I bought it with this many miles, subtract that from those many miles, and they factor in depletion value as well too. Mm-hmm. He was like, "What else do you spend your money on?" I said, "Gum, cell phone. I'm in my car, food." Think about it. Mm-hmm. If a real Uber driver does a part-time, full-time, you still sitting in the car waiting on a motherfucking ride.
Yeah.
So what about Amazon? What's that?
Amazon Flex. You're hired through Amazon. They're stingy. They came to Miami, hired a whole bunch of people.
Isn't that better?
I've never been hired as Amazon. I have a friend who got hired by Amazon and she was loving it. But she hated the fact that we still work where we worked. And at the end of the day, she said if she didn't have her child, she would have did it. She would have did it full time because they're giving you more than $10 an hour, guaranteed money, but you're on your feet all day. You're moving boxes. You need a back brace. You need to sanitize yourself off after leaving such a dusty area. You touching packages. That's what she was doing, just sorting the packages in the warehouse. But she said the longer you stay there, other positions will open up where you can be a driver. You could be the person that helps in the department with the internet. There's different aspects to Amazon within itself.
Amazon Flex.
You brought up Amazon Flex, but Amazon Flex is the drivers. There's different jobs. When she got hired in that large batch pool, she got put in the warehouse. She said if she would have did it earlier, she could have got on with Amazon Flex. But when a position opens up, that's when she can do that position. Because then she already worked there. She can apply. But if she had a child, if she didn't have her child, she would have been able to do it more.
So is Amazon their own union?
Yes, they're their own unit. I don't know about a union, whereas they got a union within the company board. I know Amazon is an entity within itself. Amazon Flex is different from Rideshare because that's paid Rideshare. That's a job. You can move up in that company. Uber, you don't. You're a driver, period. You're just a driver.
But me saying what I'm saying, Amazon Flex is just being a driver. You pick up the packages, like if you pick up a person and you drop off the packages. Yes, your friend got hired under a different program. But this Amazon Flex is being a driver. You're saying that over and over again.
They're two. I mean, if you're okay. I mean, well, really, I see what you're saying now, but I'd have to be an Amazon Flex driver for you to ask me that. So
it's the same process as signing up to be an Uber driver.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know that. When I signed up for Uber, Lyft, Postmates, I've done Grubhub, but I never actually driven for them. I gave up.
Process is all of them. You go
but
online.
But you need the background check.
Right? Mm-hmm.
But you need the background check to get in. So
they do the background check for you. Like if you sign up to be an Uber driver, you put in your information, you allow them to do the background check on your information.
I'd have to be one to give you perspective on it. So that's not a fair question.
What's not a fair question?
It's not. Now that I say it's not a fair question for me to answer because all my answer is based on is just Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, Postmate drivers, rideshare driving in a different sense. But if I had to, I would add it now to the mix. But I've never done it.
But you're learning new things as you go.
I learned based on this conversation. I learned something new.
Right. So it's a good point.
But I knew someone who just got hired through the warehouse.
Right.
Right. But they came to Miami and built a huge warehouse.
It is known that you can get hired as a flex driver, where you just pick up packages and you just be a driver. You just deliver packages all day long in your own vehicle.
Wow. My friend told me about her last package that just got dropped off by Amazon, and this was it was delivered twice. The first time she got it, there was nothing wrong with it, but she turned it on and it had a rattling sound, so she sent it back. The second one came back out the box, and the box is away from it, like you could tell somebody threw it. And when you drop off the packages through Amazon, they ask the drivers take a picture of it, because that's Amazon Flex. That's what you're using, right?
Yeah.
You get to see them just take a picture of it and leave it there. And she said, I could see it on my door camera. And not only that, he takes a picture of it. When you look at the initial picture, it looks like it already came out the box. I had to send it back. I'm still waiting on another one. What? Because they pushed so much of that product out. That's not fair. He threw it over the gate.
He threw it over the gate.
And I said, that's not fair to the driver, because you should have a drop box. How you going to get over that massive gate? It's locked, right? How you expect me to deliver the shit? So he threw it over the gate and probably took a picture of it and kept going. So it's obviously still visible that you still dropped it. Why didn't you just say package is damaged before I went through all of this headache? That's her point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel bad.
So in comparison to being like an Uber Flex driver and like a Uber Eats driver and then an Uber driver, like which one do you think is best?
What do you mean? Which one do I think is best? I think it would be Uber.
Being like a regular Uber driver picking up people. From your perspective, why?
Because the convenience.
The convenience, as in, because
The
not a
true-
lot of people are people persons.
I don't have to. Right. But then there's Postmates, there's Uber Eats, whatever doesn't work for you, this works for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for the next person.
Right.
That's why
What
you're bringing
makes
it
you
up.
comfortable? What are the things that you
What
have?
makes me, my people skills. Because if I can make it the best ride possible, I will do that. And at the end of the day, if we're able to make that connection, then it makes sense. But if it doesn't, what am I going to tell you?
Do you have like an extra blanket of security?
What, because I work?
No, like within the job, like having people in your personal vehicle, not knowing if they're tempered.
Wrong. I've had rented cars and I've owned a car at this point. But at the end of the day, it's just inviting someone into your space and letting go and being safe and aware of my situation. I like
the rides.
Yes, I do. I have a dash cam. I don't play that.
So that's an extra blanket of security.
Correct.
Okay. So do you encourage people to do that as a driver?
Anybody who gets in my car, they see that there's a sticker on the car. What?
Hey, I'm just saying. These are things that good points. What else?
I mean, it's
So would you suggest that for anybody else to put
a dash cam? Yeah, but get something that's legal. You know what I mean? Because keeping something in the middle of your dashboard is not going to help.
It's not going to help you as in what? Like in court, or just not going to help you in viewing?
Court.
Okay.
So yours is legal?
Yeah, it's a mirror. Because if it's in the middle of the screen of the windshield, they can say it's obstructing your, vision of the road and you being able to have a clear sight of the road ahead of you.
What are some of the benefits of driving, of being an Uber driver?
What are the benefits? The benefits would be I get to get in my car and make my gas money for the day. That would be number one. I don't have to do it if I don't want to do it. And if I do it, my car is clean enough to do it. So at the end of the day, I'm still keeping my car clean at the same time. And I'm reminding myself to keep the car clean, be self-aware of the car, you know. So it helps me keep up with the car is a better answer. And then if I had to, I try to keep myself aware about events and best parking and pickup locations. Like, I know the city like the back of my head, and I have no choice. I do drive a lot.
Have you ever had to go further than intended?
Yeah, but you don't know when that's going to happen. I would say that my favorite type of ride is a short ride. But lately, I haven't had time to like drive like a normal individual. But it always happens that way. I'll stop for a while and then I'll start over. And I'll, just get myself back into it.
What are the hours that Uber allows you to drive?
Sometimes night.
Like, how long can you drive for Uber?
You know what? I need to time myself, but the longest I've seen, 4 hours. 8 hours in, that probably was in the very beginning. I was making more money.
So the business itself has benefited you, and you think it's benefited them.
That's why I still drive.
Can you tell how much money you've made them?
Can I tell over time now? I'd have to like look back and know, but yeah, I can. They give you tax information, but after you make so much money and so many rides, you get a different type of tax return. It's crazy.
Which is called a what?
There is the 1099C, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm useless without holding my phone.
As self-employed.
Yeah, self-employed drivers. I had to file for that. Like, I got tied up with the rules and what you need to get done, and it's not easy trying to do it on your own.
Learn now to keep your receipts. Try to eliminate
Always.
them. Gas receipts, car wash receipts, maintenance receipts, things like that.
I got a lot of receipts, but yes, something like that. It's hard. But it's just part of being an Uber driver, as well as car insurance. My car insurance is not the same. I feel like because we live in Miami, we need to have good insurance. There's a lot of people that drive here without no insurance. And if they can't, they can't. Nobody's perfect, but drive like a safe driver. Don't be reckless. I'm sorry. We deal with horrible drivers here in Miami. Remember that. We drive in the same streets. It's horrible out there sometimes. We have no end to the meet because there's events after events. We just hit the Super Bowl now. The Super Bowl would have not really been there, but think about it. It was here in Miami. Food and Wine Festival's coming up. Ultra's coming up. St. Patrick. The circus is coming up. The Greek Festival's coming up. There's different parts of Miami within itself. Fort Lauderdale, Miami Beach, Wynwood, Brickell, Hialeah, Homestead, Kendall, the Redlands. Come on now. You have to know more about Miami. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.